Well, good afternoon, everybody. It has been a beautiful week out there across North Georgia. We started off our week with a little bit of rainfall there and a little bit of gloomy conditions, but we did have some nicer weather set up as we made our way throughout the end of the week, really the middle of the week to the end of the week. Here for Friday, we're doing the update a little bit later this week. We did have the funerals for the officers there in Cobb County earlier on this week, and so we actually ended up pushing back our weather update that we typically do on Wednesdays here to Friday for the update. So out there for Friday, not seeing anything in the way of rain. It is dry, lots of sunshine to go around, beautiful conditions. And that's going to continue here as we head throughout the rest of this week, really into the weekend rather, and then into early next week. I want to go ahead and bring this full for you and show you what we have out there as far as the time lapse is concerned. It was a beautiful start to the day. Notice that we had a lot of clear sky out there. Ended up seeing a little bit of cloud cover there as we made our way throughout the latter part of the morning and into the early part of the afternoon, but nothing that was too menacing. Still a beautiful day really to go around. You see just a little bit of that cloud cover again adding in, but that was about it. Temperatures today rising into the 80s for highs and still fairly low in the humidity, so still pretty beautiful out there. Here's a look at what we have as far as current conditions are concerned for Atlanta. This is as of 2:45 on Friday. 81 degrees, partly cloudy sky, east wind there at about 9 miles per hour. Now out at Truist Park, looking stunning as always. The grass is showing up there, no tarp over the field, no need for it all weekend. We are staying dry. And then you look out not too far from there. This is Georgia 400 at I-285, right there at Northside Hospital. Beautiful conditions there out towards the King and Queen Towers. Radar doesn't show any rain anywhere near us. Closest rain is pretty much all the way down towards Amelia Island, Jacksonville, St. Augustine area. That's where the closest shower activity is to us, and it's not coming anywhere near us all weekend. Take a look at the timeline here. For forecast track showing us by the time we get to about 6 a.m. on Saturday, going to see those temperatures out there sitting in the 60s and even 50s in a few spots to start off Saturday. Just another gorgeous start. We've got a 10 on the whizometer for Saturday. Temperatures rising into the 80s for highs for much of us. Some of those North Georgia mountains, though, temperatures will only rise into the 70s. So still fairly nice out there, mostly clear to partly cloudy sky. Moving into Sunday morning, temperatures will start off into the 50s and 60s again mostly clear, rising into the 80s for the afternoon on Sunday. So last week we talked about how some of those farmers markets that we have on Saturday mornings, many of the towns across North Georgia, how they were going to be kind of gloomy, kind of messy, maybe a little bit of drizzly rain. This Saturday, perfect for those farmers markets. You may have a little extra produce and things that you can get out there since some of the farmers may have gone ahead and picked up some of their crops now that we're getting to the end of the season. So beautiful, again, for those farmers markets this weekend. I think I'll go out to a couple with my wife here for Saturday morning. If you're planning on more football, you know, it's feeling a little bit more like football weather out there. Friday night football, first of all, tonight, going to be great. Temperatures in the 70s. You won't need a blanket at the game. You'll be comfortable, though. You won't need to go get that hot chocolate from the stand or anything, from the food stand. You'll be able to just kind of hang out in the bleachers, be comfortable, maybe a little bit of water here and there. Temperature should be in the 70s. Now, let's talk about college football. Georgia State is playing here in Atlanta. They are taking on Charlotte. 70s there, partly cloudy sky to mostly sunny. Georgia takes on South Carolina in Columbia, South Carolina. That's going to be at noon. 80s with a mostly sunny sky. And then you see there for Georgia Tech taking on Ole Miss. I'm a Mississippi State guy myself, so rooting for Georgia Tech a little bit here today or for Saturday. But partly cloudy sky there. 80s expected for the game. Should still be a beautiful day for some football. Hope that everybody can have a great time no matter what team you're rooting for. Temperature is expected to be in the 80s. Notice all throughout the weekend, 85 for Saturday, 87 for Sunday. But then we start to see those temperatures really climb. 91 for Tuesday, 89 for Monday. And you see there for Wednesday, 92 degrees. The average high this time of year is 84. So that is warmer than what we should usually be at. As we head throughout these next few days here, these next few weeks rather, we should start to see temperatures become a little bit more reasonable. The latest 90-degree temperature that we have had on record in Atlanta happened back in 1941, the latest in a calendar year, that is. On October 9th, we hit 90 degrees back in 1941. And then you can see back in 2019, 2017 and 2018 rather. You see that we hit it on September 28th, and then October 6th, 2019, we hit it on October 4th. So that just lets you know that we can still hit 90 degrees, at least for these next few weeks, but then it becomes less likely by the time we head into that second week, really, of October. This September, it's been pretty comfortable. You know, we only had a few days there above average. We had the 1st, we had the 3rd, and we had the 7th. The rest of the month has either been right at average for our temperatures or even below average. But despite that, it still hasn't really been cool enough yet to really bring those fall-like conditions, and the fall foliage is still forecast to kind of pick up here, not until we get into October. Mid to late October is when our fall foliage typically peaks here in North Georgia. Notice by the time we get to September 27th, you may want to head on up to the Smokies. That's going to be right around when they're getting near peak. By October 4th, they start to hit the peak up there into the higher elevations, maybe up to Clingman's Dome, maybe up to Mount Mitchell there in North Carolina. And then as we head deeper into the month of October, that's going to be when we see the fall foliage really kind of pick up and things get a lot more beautiful as far as the leaves changing colors there in North Georgia. Notice by the time we get to the 18th, the Atlanta area starts to pick up there at peak. We'll be at the peak on October 25th and past the peak by early November. That's going to be when all of us are going to be out there trying to rake up those leaves after we enjoyed them changing colors there for the fall. And then we'll continue to see everyone go past peak as we head into the latter part of November. So over this past month, it hasn't been too wet out there, just 0.61 in the rain gauge, 0.61 less than 3/4 of an inch of rain even there in the rain gauge for the month of September. So we are well behind, but we're not hurting. We're still ahead for the year. The reason why? Well, August was a really wet month. You notice that we had more than 2 inches above average for the month of August as far as rain was concerned. So we're not hurting right now. Drought is not a thing in North Georgia, and we're not expecting any rain either to kind of push back drought or hold back drought from being able to even form. Notice the next 7 days, no chance for rain. Again, still no drought here in North Georgia or Georgia as a whole. The entire state of Georgia staying out of those drought conditions because we had such wet conditions for a good period of time there across the region. So over the next 7 days, here's what we can expect. Notice that we're going to have 10s on the whizometer Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Lows in the 60s, highs in the mid 80s. Beautiful conditions. So not 11s because we're slightly above average. Remember, we should be at 84 this time of year. Slightly above average, still beautiful. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, though, the temperatures do climb even higher up into the 90s. So we'll see the whizometer number drop down to a 9. Still no chance for rain, though, even for the fall equinox. You notice that we're going to have 92 degrees. So not really feeling much like fall as we move into the fall equinox itself. Looking beyond the 7-day forecast, though, for the 8 to 14 day outlook, we're looking now beyond that fall equinox time frame, the end of September. Looks like it will be around average to below average amounts of rain, so kind of on that trend that we're on right now. And then above average temperatures. That would mean that we have temperatures into the upper 80s for highs, maybe even lower 90s. That trend looks like it will continue into the end of September. Now, something else that we usually have happen in September is we see a little bit of a ramp up in hurricane activity, or tropical activity rather, out in the Atlantic. We still are tracking Tropical Storm Fiona. It is making its way there along the Lesser Antilles, expected to continue its way just south of Puerto Rico, it's looking like. Still likely going to have a big impact there in Puerto Rico as far as wind is concerned, maybe a little bit of storm surge there along the coastline, and then also some really heavy rain at times. Then the storm is expected to make its way kind of just there along the Dominican Republic and Haiti, and then it'll move over Turks and Caicos up into the Bahamas, where it could end up becoming a Category 1 hurricane where it encounters a little less shear in the atmosphere and possibly some warmer water as well. So we're going to keep a close eye on this. Right now, it's not looking like it's going to be too impactful for us, but we'll know a little bit more about this system after it gets past Hispaniola. Notice the storm's still expected to turn. Many of the weather models showing that it will turn as it gets kind of closer onto the Bahamas there. So again, we've talked about how it doesn't look like it'll be too impactful for us, but still a little bit of time for us to keep an eye on it before we can be absolutely certain about that. We do also have a low chance for tropical development there, kind of east of the North Carolina coastline. And then you see out in the central portion of the Atlantic, another spot where we have a low chance for tropical development. Neither of those spots look like they will be threatening us though. Tropical timeline shows that as we head throughout the next few weeks, again, September 10th was the peak. We'll still be in that peak time frame here though over the next week or so to 2 weeks. And then as we head into November 30th, things are really quiet down, and that is also considered the end of hurricane season. Fiona, the latest name, Gaston would be the next named storm if we do end up with another named system. So again, something we'll continue to keep you updated on, but nothing to be too concerned about right now. The last few weeks, whenever we talk about this portion, the weekend getaways, it's always talked about storms all across the southeast. This weekend, we're talking about dry conditions, even down towards Destin. Now, I think Destin could have about a 20% chance for rain there on Saturday, but you notice everywhere else, we're gonna be dry. Temperature is gonna be in the 80s to 90s for highs. It's actually gonna be a perfect beach weekend if you wanted to head down to the coastline. So get down there and enjoy it. Should be a beautiful weekend again. Peach State outlook, if you're traveling anywhere around Georgia over the next 3 days for the weekend, it's looking beautiful as well. 80s for highs, lots of sunshine, just a nice weekend ahead of us. And then of course, the Georgia State Park forecast, if you plan on doing any hiking, it should be absolutely stunning out there. I love to be able to talk about the nice conditions for hiking. You know, we had a lot of rain last month. I'm sure a lot of the waterfalls are still looking stunning right now with a lot of the springs still pumping out a good amount of water. Go out there and check out some of that. And then also, if you want to head to some of those higher elevations, maybe in North Carolina, maybe in far north Georgia, maybe you want to go head up to see Brasstown Bald, the highest point in Georgia. I'm sure that there's a little bit of color changing going on with some of those leaves. Should be a beautiful weekend for it, no matter where you plan on hiking. Make sure you pack plenty of water though, because it will still be fairly warm in the afternoon with those temperatures in the lower 80s. Always want to make sure you stay hydrated if you're going to be headed out there on the trails. So that's about it for our weather update, guys. I just wanted to hop on and keep you updated as we always do every single week. We'll go back to doing these updates on Wednesday this next week. Again, we did postpone this week to being for Friday due to the officers' funerals that were occurring earlier on this week on Wednesday and Thursday there in Cobb County. So we did not want to create any issues with that coverage for everybody. And we decided to push back this week to, again, today. So next Wednesday, we'll have another update for you. I hope everybody can have a wonderful weekend here across North Georgia. We'll continue to keep you updated, of course, right here at 11 Alive on 11alive.com. And be sure to download that 11 Alive Plus app if you haven't already. A lot of you may already be watching us on 11 Alive Plus. We like to produce that extra content that you can get right there on Fire TV and Roku. Again, 11 Alive Plus for Fire TV and Roku. Go ahead and download it. It can be a great resource for you to get extra news and weather coverage whenever you're on the go. So I want to sign off, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and weekend. We'll continue to keep you updated on everything right here at 11 Alive.